Allison Mander-Wionzek, and I am the LFS Career Strategist. I use she, her pronouns, and I grew up in Ontario, though I was born in Edmonton. And my hometown, I call it this little place called Listowel, Ontario. I don't know if any of you are out there, but if you are, give me a little shout because I'd love to connect. And we're all going to share what we wanted to be when we were kids. So the one career that stuck in my mind from a very young age was being a children's book illustrator. I loved Robert Munsch books. I also loved Roald Dahl books. So I loved the idea of making pictures to go alongside writing. Caroline, you want to try giving yourself an introduction?
Yeah, let's try this again.
Oh, that sounds better.
The audio's better? Great.
Yeah, much better.
So my name's Caroline. I am a fourth year here at UBC. I'm in my third year of the dietetics program. I'm originally from just outside of Boston, Massachusetts, in the US. And when I was a kid, I really wanted to be an engineer. I didn't really know what engineers did. I just knew that I wanted to build a time machine so that I could see the future.
That's awesome. And Christine?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Christine. My pronouns are she, her. I am the Director of Student Services. So in my role, I get to support Allison and Caroline and their entire team of colleagues, of advisors, from engagement to well-being to academic to student support and outreach, to support all of our students in the Faculty of Land and Food Systems in the pursuit of your goals and dreams. I'm the exact opposite of Allison. I was born in Ontario and grew up in Edmonton. And so that is my hometown. So I'm really proud to be Vancouverite, though. As we were talking, Allison and I today, I've officially lived in Vancouver longer than I did live in Edmonton. So Vancouver also feels very much like home. When I was a kid, I kind of toiled between wanting to be maybe a teacher or being on Broadway. And those were my two potential dreams.
Amazing. Two beautiful dreams. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And yes, thanks, Caroline, for popping that link in the chat. So to get to know you all a little bit more, we're going to do an interactive activity with a tool called Slido. So you may or may not have ever used this. If you do attend LFS and if you join the UBC campus overall, it's very probable you'll interact with it again. All you have to do to join is to use your cell phone, if you can, to take a picture of the QR code or to pull up the QR code. If you're not able to do that, but you have the ability to open a window on your computer or on your phone, you can go to slido.com and just put that number in there. And I'll give you a few minutes to try that out. Let us know if you have any challenges. Actually, while we're waiting, I'll just start with the first question. And when you're able, you can reply. Oops, sorry. So why are you considering applying to LFS? You can rank this particular question. So maybe a few things on the list are interesting to you. So you could specify which one you think is maybe influencing the most, or and so on and so forth. If you are struggling with the technology, all you have to do is move the little buttons in the order that you prefer, or tap them as well. Okay, we have so far. Great, I see you all working there, so that's wonderful. If anyone's struggling, feel free just to ask a question in the chat if you're not sure, or also welcome you to kind of turn your sound on and ask a question that way. You unmute yourself. Okay, what do we have so far? So sounds like a number of you, there's a particular program you're thinking about. So I hope you've been joining the various sessions this week as part of Taste of LFS, so you can learn a little bit more about the programs that we offer at a deeper level and ask any questions that you have about them. Some thinking around careers or specific careers. I will say I know many people that have gone to LFS. I myself studied at UBC in the Faculty of Arts, but if I were to do it again, I'd join LFS. Partly because I know people that studied here that really loved it. Caroline, while we're waiting for folks to reply, why did you decide to study at LFS?
Like many of you, there was a specific program that I was interested in. I wanted to study, knew I wanted to study nutrition from when I was pretty young, because I really liked food. And when I was doing my research about different universities in the US and in Canada, I was looking for good nutrition programs, and UBC came up time and time again. So I started looking into it more specifically and thought that it would be a really good place for me.
Awesome.
And here I am, and
here
it was.
You are, doing great things. Okay, so we will pop over. So these are all great reasons for choosing a school. There are only a handful. There may be others that you have in mind as well, and that's great. Next question. So how important is your future career plan to your decision about where to study? Right now, at this point, how much do you kind of keep that in mind when you think about where you should study? There's no judgment, okay? I promise you. For those of you that are saying very important, I can understand why you're here with us tonight. So grateful to have you here. And for those that are less sure, even more reason to be excited to have you here. So thank you for joining and taking a step to learn a little bit more about what might be possible through a degree at the Faculty of Land and Systems. So what else is important to you when you consider where you want to study? This is an open text box, so you can answer anything that you like. Let you know right now it is anonymous, so don't worry about your name being attached to anything. What else is important to you other than career when you're considering where you want to study? I like that affordability cough. Volunteer opportunities, I love to see that. Yeah, location made a big difference for me. I decided to attend UBC because there was a faculty member here that was teaching that I was particularly interested in. I studied fine art, which is quite different than what I'm doing now. But if you do end up joining us in the new year, I'll share more about my story and how my degree has prepared me for this particular work that I do now. But for me, it was a faculty member. And I moved away. As I said, I grew up in Ontario. So I moved away from home. And it certainly does make a difference in terms of those years in your degree, but also how it might influence your decision about where you live in the long run. Cost is huge. Yes. Well, Vancouver, isn't the most affordable city, that's for sure. But one thing that I think is really amazing about the students in the faculty of LFS in particular is how much they do care about food security and the ability to eat affordably. So one thing that we have that is super cool is the Agora Cafe, which is within our kind of core building, the Macmillan building, where you can get healthy vegetarian meals for a reasonable cost. We also do bi-weekly kind of community dinners that are also very affordable. I can't remember, is it $6, Caroline?
It's $5 for
$5.
LFS students, $6 for non-LFS students.
Amazing, thank you. So
It's a
definitely
three-course meal.
Yes, and delicious, right? Yes. So definitely something that, folks here are thinking about and will support you to figure out as well. Great. Okay, so if you had to decide to accept or decline an offer from LFS tomorrow, what would hold you back from declaring a confident yes to joining our community? So imagine you got the offer in the mail, you've been sitting on it for 3 weeks, and tomorrow's your deadline. Now you absolutely have to decide. If there's a reason why you don't feel confident yet that you would say yes, we would love to know what that reason is. And again, no judgment. And if you do reply, then we might also be able to help you think through that particular challenge that you are having in your decision making. Mm-hmm. So wondering what you'll do after graduation, feeling pressure around that. That makes sense. It's very common. And we're certainly going to talk about that throughout the presentation. Yeah, absolutely. So if there's particular financial support that you could or couldn't get, especially I can imagine if you're applying to multiple schools, and also what fulfilling career can I? Yeah. So great. And if after today's session you still are feeling like I don't quite know enough yet, we have folks that are available to connect with you. So you can certainly reach out to us in our communication. Our emails and contact information will be on the last slide as well. So definitely there are people that can connect with you to talk a little bit more about the things that you feel like you need to know. Okay, I don't see anybody else typing right now, so we'll keep moving. This is, I believe, the last one. So what questions do you have for us about studying at LFS, and in particular about careers and career planning as it relates to your possible decision to study here? Oh, great. We're going to talk exactly about that. It's on the agenda. What is UBC LFS doing to advance food security in the province of BC? Hundreds of thousands are hungry and we need to act now. That's, I love that passion and that commitment. And I absolutely am confident to say that there are others that feel the same, that are studying here. So who knows what might be possible also in terms of what you could do if you were to be here amongst others that care. Can I become a dentist after studying at LFS? Okay, great. We'll just keep that in mind as we continue with the presentation because it'll be relevant later. Wait for this last person to finish typing and then we can move forward. What kind of research can we do at LFS? Great question. We probably won't touch as much on that, but there is a lot of different types of research that you can do. There's a lot of information on our website in particular. You can look and see what the different faculty members are doing in terms of research. You can also look and see information about the various classes that are available to you. And then if you still have questions after that, feel free to reach out to us as well. Great. Okay, so where can an LFS degree take you? We're going to explore this question in a few different ways, but before I go more in depth as to where an LFS degree can take you, I'm going to say a couple initial things that you may not necessarily be happy about right now, but I'm going to encourage you to be excited. So first and foremost, it can take you many, many, many places. So you may feel like it's important for you to know exactly where you want to go right now. It's very common, especially as we as humans are trying to figure out big, important questions like where will I study? What will I study? That feels like it's so essential that you know exactly where you're going to go with your degree. And I acknowledge those feelings, and I can say that I have been there and I have had those feelings, and I may still have those feelings on occasions. But I want you to know that there are lots of different places that you can take an LFS degree. I also want you to know that you don't actually have to decide right. So for sure, deciding where you're going to study is going to have an impact. It will, impact the knowledge that you cultivate. It will impact the skills that you strengthen and develop. It will impact the people that you meet, and therefore the ideas that you're introduced to. I like to think of it as influencing the lens that you take to whatever it is that you end up doing. So maybe some of you out there know exactly or have a really clear picture of what you want to do right now. And if you do, that's great. Those of you that maybe aren't sure, let yourself be not necessarily sure. It gives you an opportunity to explore, to try different things out. We're going to explain a little bit more about how you can do that at LFS to get a sense of what it is that you particularly want to do. So overall, keep in mind as you're making your decision about what to study, the skills, the experience, and the knowledge that you particularly are hoping to develop. Those are really powerful things that can impact where you might take a degree. So they're great things to be kind of keeping in mind. So career decision-making. Despite what the adults in your life tell you, it's going to happen throughout your life in lots of different ways. So you may have people in your life who, it looks like they chose one thing and they stayed with it forever. That may be the case. It may not be the case. But know that throughout your life, you'll be making decisions that affect your career all the time. So it's not just that one initial question about what you want to study, that answer that's going to influence everything. There'll be time for many decisions across the board. Often, for many people, it involves considering your own opinions and ideas. So maybe you have thoughts about careers already that you'd like to pursue. It also involves often consulting others. So maybe there are family members, chosen family members that you trust, whose opinions you want to include in your thinking about what you should do or what you could be doing. Maybe there are friends or mentors or other people also that you can look to for ideas or suggestions about what might be a good fit for you. The nice thing about our relationships is that usually people can see the things that we're good at and see the things that we're passionate about sometimes before we can ourselves. So it can be helpful to ask others for their opinion. And also, it's important to recognize that it doesn't actually happen in what we might call a vacuum, but rather it's within the context of an ever-changing world. So when I say that, I kind of think about the way that the world might shift and change, even between now and when you would graduate from your undergraduate degree. So we consider differences that might occur in terms of the economy, technology development, even yourself and your preferences, your interests, etc. These changes are kind of always happening. So it's not the case that you'll be making this decision just on your own in a room, but actually you're working in conjunction with a moving target and different systems. So keeping that in mind when you consider your career, one great thing to do is to consider what the world is looking for. So if you look out into the world and you see like there's work that needs to be done here, or there are jobs doing this other thing over here, that can give you a sense of what might be possible for you, and where you might be able to apply your skills, knowledge, and interests. Additionally, it can help you to generate ideas and also develop, also like choose courses and different things that might help you to get to where you want to go. So I encourage you to kind of think about that, to think about what is it that the world is looking for. And the person among us who spoke about the importance of poverty and hunger, this is a great example. So there's something that we already know needs to be addressed. There's a challenge that exists in the world. There's work to be done to resolve that challenge. So one great way to explore, what the type of work that exists in the world that maybe you could be doing is to engage in something like this, the UN Sustainable Development Goals. If you haven't heard of them, quick Google will get you lots of information. They were developed in 2015, and there are a number of very specific, tangible kind of calls to action that the UN came up with that are relevant to what the world needs to have happen now. So there's 17 goals and 169 targets. They're wide ranging, and they're meant to identify and I think rally the world around things that are most urgent in the world. So you can see there's lots of different things here: poverty, hunger, health and well-being, education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and partnerships for the goals. So there's 17 overarching goals. If there's one or two or three or 10 here that interests you, I'd encourage you to jot that down and take a look at the various resources that the UN has on their website. It's really well constructed with some really helpful navigation tools. I'll also just highlight that there are a few here that maybe we can immediately see a connection with what you might study at LFS. So I've got specifically, things related to health. Of course, you could do food nutrition degree here, things related to water and sanitation, climate action, animals, the land, sustainability. These are topics that are very much a part of what LFS is all about. And also, actually, you could contribute to any of these things through a degree in LFS. So one of the things that's really special about our faculty is that it is a more applied approach to thinking thinking about science in particular. So the Faculty of Land and Food Systems, that systems piece is really key. So trying to break down like how we might make change in the world is a very big part of what you would be doing with your time here, and a very big part of what others that are within the faculty, both staff members, faculty members, other students, graduate students as well. It's what people are really often almost always trying to do. So it's a great place if you're the kind of person who wants to kind of figure out tangibly what you can do about a given challenge. Like I said, there's a few where it's a bit more obvious, but actually if any of these things that are interesting to you, you could take your degree and do meaningful work in that particular area. Very much so. We're going to talk a little bit more about career and your degree in a little bit, so keep that in mind. But yeah, take a look at the UN Sustainable Development Goals. I encourage you to explore those and to use this as a way to kind of see clearly the things that we know the world is going to require now and into the future. Okay, so for those of you that want more specifically a list of things that you can do, I can understand that sentiment. Here is a list. One thing I always say about lists is that they are finite. So we can only put so much on a list, but there's so much else that's possible. So if you're interested in medicine, absolutely, the courses that you take here can prepare you well for that particular field. Same goes for dentistry. So if it's about getting the foundational knowledge and understanding of the human body, of biology, of the core sciences, absolutely, you can do that here. Maybe some of you out there are interested in becoming a dietitian. The Faculty of Land and Food Systems is the only place in BC to study dietetics, nutrition-oriented fields, but also things like entrepreneurship. So if you're curious to be a business owner or to try something out, that can be a great way to apply your knowledge and to make impact as well. Health and wellness fields, if you're more interested in agriculture, farming, etc., that's very much a place where you could go. Research, so becoming either a research within an academic institution or a researcher in a more community-based context, that's also possible. And policy, so influencing the government, influencing the changes that you want to see in the world. These are all things that absolutely can do, and many folks are doing after having studied. So career uncertainty, it's normal, it's common. So I want you to know that no matter what degree you do choose, there is going to be a level of career uncertainty. So there's a part of it where you have to kind of gather the information that you have available, and then you have to kind of go forward the best you can with what you do have. From there, then you can try things out, you can evaluate how that's going, and you can see what the next best step is. And the really great thing is that we are here ready and excited to support you to navigate that certainty and to build a lot more comfortability with the idea of certainty. So we'll talk a little bit next about how LFS can support you. So first and foremost, the LFS core series is a really unique thing about the Faculty of Land and Food Systems at UBC. Myself, as the career strategist, I get to actually come in and meet with you regularly throughout the core series. So your career learning becomes a part of your everyday world in the faculty. We'll do things that are useful, like how to figure out how to articulate your skills to employers, but we'll also do things like how to work effectively with community members or in teams, building some of those professional skills that are super important, as well as more of the exploratory, like what do I think I want to do with this particular degree. The core series is quite cool because it's very applied, and you're working within a community context and learning a ton by actually doing so, taking your theoretical knowledge and applying it deeply. Another great thing about LFS is that you have an embedded career strategist. So that's me. This is also a relatively unique thing across the UBC campus. Not every faculty has it. At this point, I believe it's only LFS and the Faculty of Arts that have somebody that are dedicated staff member. It's a really great sign that the Faculty of Land and Food Systems cares very deeply about what you do with your degree and that you feel excited about the time that you've spent here and what is going to be possible for you next. I provide customized career support. So I do workshops. I also do one-on-one advising. You can meet with me virtually or in person on campus. You can meet with me as much as you want or as little as you want. I'm also accessible and visible. Like I said, I'll be in your classes, so you'll automatically see me around and be able to talk to me. And the nice thing is that I have the luxury of really spending time learning about and focusing on the context of your own degrees and the possible career outcomes, which is different than many university contexts where like a career person might be serving everybody from all different types of programs. So it's a pretty unique thing. And then experiential learning. So I saw in that in one of those questions an interest in maybe the community, volunteering, what a person might be able to do during their time here at LFS. There's a lot of opportunity for experiential learning. And in a moment, Caroline's going to share with you the various things that she's done to apply her class-based learning into other new contexts. Experiential learning really ultimately means learning by doing. So going out, trying things out, and then learning from what that's been like. So it's a great way to develop your confidence in your own abilities and ultimately your employability, which will help you to be more confident when you're doing things like applying for jobs or networking or all kinds of things like that. Gives you a chance to test out different types of careers as well. So you might try something that you've been thinking could be a good fit and learn whether or not that is the case in practice. This is a really great way to make informed decisions about your career. And also it gives you the chance to actually meet people, to learn more about opportunities that exist, and to build your professional network. So I'll talk a little bit about work, learn, co-op, and clubs, and then I'll pass it over to Caroline. So work, learn is a program across UBC. It's a way that employers on campus can hire students, can give you opportunities to grow and learn, provide professional development and mentorship. There are work, learn jobs in all kinds of different areas of the faculty. So even our office, Student Services Office at the Faculty of Land and Food Systems, we hire students into work, learn roles that are interested in working in lots of different areas, whether that be communications or event planning or programming or community development, all kinds of things. And it's really great and it's fun. So you can build grow mentors, also develop good references from that as well. There are also work, learn jobs where you can work more directly with faculty members if you're interested in research or in other institutions or other units across campus. So if you're, let's say, interested very much in equity and inclusion, there's an equity and inclusion office. There's jobs that are often available through them as well. So lots of different cool things that you can do there. Co-op, we have a co-op advisor who can support you to think through whether or not co-op is the right fit for you. There's lots of great things about going on to co-op. Lots of different ways that you can try things out in a real working world and lots to learn from. And then clubs. The LFS community is very, very engaged. There are a ton of different clubs. I won't name them all, but maybe Caroline can help you learn a little bit about some of the various ways that she's gotten involved in clubs. But these are great ways to try things out. So let's say you have an idea, you can join a club, explore that idea through the club, maybe become an executive member, gives you a chance to develop leadership skills. It also gives you the chance to showcase to employers that you take initiative in take initiative to pursue the things that matter to you or to resolve the things that matter to you. So there are tons. So whether you're more interested in applied biology, there's a number of different clubs that are focused on various things related to animal welfare or food, nutrition, and health. There's a ton of different clubs in that area as well. There's a Dietitians of UBC organization. There's also the, not a club, but the LFS US, which is the undergraduate student society in our faculty. Lots and lots of opportunities to get involved with that as well. So clubs give you the chance to meet people, practice various skills, engage in things that matter for you, and they're also fun. So I definitely encourage you to do that. I'll pass it over to you, Caroline.
Thank you. I think I'm going to start off by talking a little bit about clubs, and then I'll talk about my experience with WorkLearn. To start, I've been involved in a lot of different things. In my second year, I was in the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Club. I've been in the Club NutriKids a couple of times. I've done a lot of different volunteering around campus. Like I worked at this student-led cafe called Sprouts that provides low-cost meals to students. It's all run by volunteers. And having that kind of wide variety of experiences has been really helpful in helping me figure out what I like and what I don't like. As far as careers go, for example, with NutriKids, in that club, you get paired into a group of other students who are interested in nutrition, and you get paired with a teacher and a class. So I worked with grade 1 and 2 students to teach them about a nutrition concept and get them started with it. And I was really interested in it at first because I am really interested in how people's relationships with food develop over time. But I found out going through it that you have to really tailor the kind of things you can talk about to the age group. So the stuff that we were teaching grade 1 and grade 2 students was pretty basic, which is obviously they have to learn it at their correct level, but it wasn't what I wanted. So that kind of taught me that I didn't really want to work with kids, and I was more interested in the more complicated aspects of nutrition, which has led me to be more interested in research and like more public health related topics rather than like education. So that was a good thing to know. And beyond that, like learning what you like and don't like, being involved in clubs, I found really helps with developing certain skills. Like I got really good at making presentations, like slides, because I was presenting to kids. And my public speaking skills were really honed doing that. Like communication and project planning, scheduling, all those things get developed when you're doing just the volunteer stuff that you're passionate outside of your classwork, which then you can put that stuff on your resumes when you're actually getting jobs, which leads me to talk about WorkLearn, which is the position I'm currently in as a student ambassador as a WorkLearn. And all my previous experience with clubs was really essential in me getting this job. Because I had background in like some design aspects, like developing workshops, and my public speaking, as I mentioned before, which helped me kind of land this position where I've learned even more about all of those things and just developed a lot of skills like project management and things. They're not exactly related to nutrition, but they will be absolutely essential when I am working as a professional once I've graduated.
Thank you, Caroline. Yes, absolutely. So often when I work with students, they don't realize how valuable some of those extracurriculars or even volunteering can be. But those are ways that you can both practice professional skills that you'll need in many different jobs, as well as start to showcase your capability with employers. So another great thing about having an embedded career strategist, aka myself, is that I can meet with you, I can talk with you about your experiences and help you to figure out what skills are worth highlighting to employers and all the great skills that you are developing through those experiences. It's quite common that it doesn't feel like you're doing much, but once you start to talk about it, we can see and we can highlight lots of different things. Thanks, Caroline. Okay, any questions for Caroline at this point? Or questions in general are also open. And if you'd like to ask a question in the chat, you're welcome to do that. If you'd like to jump on the mic, you can unmute yourself as well, and I'm happy to take your questions. We'll wait, we'll give a few minutes so that those of you that are thinking, you can take a moment to think and see if there's any question that you'd like to ask. If I didn't get into LFS in the first year, can I transfer to LFS? There's lots of room and flexibility to transfer into the faculty, absolutely. Christine, is there anything that you want to share from the advising side around what that might look like?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So yes, you absolutely are eligible to apply for transfer into the Faculty of Land and Food Systems if you are either at another institution for the first year of your university studies, like a college system like Langara, for example, or if you start in a different faculty at UBC and wish to come into LFS in the future. I think it would be best to just put your hat in the ring for LFS right now and put the LFS programs as your first choices on your application form to UBC. And if, as the admission process unfolds, it's not looking likely for you, I encourage you to connect in with our advising team, and I'd be happy to put our contact information in the chat. And then we would be happy, any advisors able to meet with any prospective and interested student to discuss options and pathways forward to getting admitted that best meet your particular set of circumstances, but it's absolutely a possibility. Yeah.
Any other questions out there? Questions about maybe getting involved on campus or opportunities or other clubs that we haven't highlighted, but that you're wondering if they exist or ways to learn about certain topics? One thing I will say is that let's say you do end up here at LFS and there's a topic that you're really interested in exploring and getting to know others that are also interested in it. But if there isn't a club that exists, you actually can create as well. And that process offers tons of opportunity to learn, also gives you the chance to, again, practice leadership skills and show that initiative to employers. So even if you feel like it's not here yet, that doesn't mean that it won't be, or it can't be once you're here. You're all bringing knowledge and strengths and skills with you, and we're excited to have that as part of our community and excited to see what you would do here within our community as well. Okay, we'll keep going for now, but there's going to be another opportunity for questions afterwards. So,
we actually did just get one.
Yeah, go for it, Caroline.
Oh, that is a great question. Is there a garden students can plant in? Yes. There is a club within LFS called Roots on the Roof, which it's this awesome club. Our student union building basically is called the AMS Nest. It's this awesome building with these huge windows. And if you go up to the top floor, you can go out onto the roof and they have a bunch of garden boxes and students can plant in there and they grow all kinds of food. And it's a really great opportunity.
Yeah.
On top of that, there's the UBC Farm, which is the Center for Sustainable Food Systems, which is a place where a lot of students, it's a public place. You can go and walk around it if you want, but a lot of students get involved there. They have work-land positions, volunteering opportunities. I've actually volunteered on the farm, and you actually go and work in the field. Yeah, and you can volunteer or work for them, which is really great. And there's research opportunities there too.
They also have, I can't remember exactly what like an Indigenous garden, Indigenous plants, and where they teach also about Indigenous relationship to plants and medicines and all kinds of things, which I did a tour once and I had such a good time. It was really, really interesting and quite cool. So yeah, they do lots of fun things. Okay, we'll keep moving forward. Mentorship and networking. So I don't know, I'm curious how those of you out there, if you're willing to share in the chat how you feel about the idea of networking, or if you have mentors or people that you would consider your mentors. From a career development perspective, people are very important, even if we think about the relationships that we have with our friends. They influence us quite significantly. They help us to learn what TV shows are worth watching, where we should go to get the best deal on our new technology, or food we should try, all kinds of things. Once you're in university, they'll certainly influence you in terms of thinking about the classes that you should take, etc. So just like our friends and those people that we trust influence us in terms of our general lives, they can influence us in relation to what we think is possible for us with our careers, as can others that we might meet along the way. So looking for mentors and networking with alumni or other professionals doing work that interests you is a really great way to learn about opportunities that exist out there, whether that be summer or part-time jobs, volunteer opportunities or extracurriculars, or even longer term plans for maybe what types of careers you'd like to set yourself up for after you graduate. People are incredible resources and they can help you learn a lot. Often students feel stressed, nervous about the idea of networking or about reaching out to people. So one other great way that LFS supports you is through our mentorship program. So we are the oldest running mentorship program at UBC. We're approaching 25 years. We have over 100 mentors that come back all the time, every year, to work with our students. They're primarily alumni of the faculty, but not all of them. It's something that you can participate in at any point in your degree. So even at first year, you could join the mentorship program, be paired with a mentor, meet a couple other people, and then next year do it again and meet some new people and learn some more things. So it's a really great way to kind of get that structure in place that will help you to be talking with alumni or talking with professionals when it might otherwise be quite challenging. When you're in school, you get busy, assignments can pick up pretty quickly into the middle of the term. It can be really hard to prioritize your career. So we've built a number of different structures that will help you to prioritize that and to embed that again into your everyday life. The mentorship program is one great way. You don't have to pay anything to be a part of it. In fact, sometimes we feed you various things. So yeah, great thing to look into. You can, of course, do all kinds of different networking also within the faculty, with professors, with your peers, etc. We also have a number of student-led groups, including the ACE team, which is the academic and career team here that's student-led. They run events to help you with your career as well. Yeah, and then we can also support you, like I said earlier, through advising with me or workshops that you can attend to build the skills and confidence to network with people outside the faculty as well. Caroline, you want to share a little bit about networking, your experience networking?
Of course. I've never done networking that was super formal. It's generally just been me having questions for people. One example, I had a professor last year who on the first day of class explained that she had started her academic journey in engineering, and she did a whole undergrad degree in engineering, graduated, and was like, actually, I don't want to do this. And she completely pivoted. She started doing grad studies in midwifery and then ended up doing a PhD in human nutrition, which I was just super interested because that's like kind of all over the place. And at the time, I was feeling kind of confused about my own path and what I wanted to do, and if I even wanted to do like dietetics, which is my program that I'm in now. So I was asking all kinds of questions, and I wanted to go to her office hours, which is just a time when professors will have like an hour or two set aside a week where students can just come and talk to them. But I didn't have class. I had class during her office hours, so I couldn't go. So I just emailed her to ask if we could set up an alternate time, and we ended up talking for like an hour, and I was just asking her like everything, like how did you decide that you wanted to do nutrition, like what was it like kind of getting into this field a little bit later, what are your regrets, like I asked her so many things. It was just like an interview, and it provided me a lot of like insight into my own journey, and like knowing that changing things up is okay and you cannot know what you need to do. And she gave me a lot of recommendations about like getting involved in lots of things, like I had mentioned before, trying everything so you know what you like and what you don't like. And sort of around that same time when I was feeling very unsure of my own path, I reached out to dozens of dietitians on LinkedIn. I just sent them messages. I was like, can I ask you some questions about your career journey? And not all of them got back to me, but the ones that did were super warm and engaging. I ended up talking on the phone to some of them and just messaging them like in the chat on LinkedIn. And it didn't feel that significant at the time, but then this past fall, I've had guest speakers who are dietitians that I spoke to last year when I was asking about my career journey. So you never know where those like little conversations are going to take you or come back to you.
I love that. That's great. I'd also say you never know where the people that you meet within your classes are going to take, where those folks are going to go, and what you may be able to learn, or opportunities you might be able to get through having relationships with others that are also interested in the types of things that you're interested in. Because yeah, your peers are your future professionals. So if this is a place where you can imagine like people that you're interested in meeting and connecting with and working with, it's another great reason to join. I won't go too much into depth on this piece, but I do want to highlight for you that we have some incredible alumni doing all kinds of different things. And we have a really useful part on our website. Caroline, if you can grab it for me, the link for me, and pop it in the chat, that would be helpful. I have it at the end of the slide, but might as well share it now. There's a number of profiles that we have on our website of our alumni, and the various things that they're doing. And we're always kind of meeting with alumni and learning more. So I just selected 3 people that are doing different types of things, but actually they all studied food, nutrition, and health. So it can kind of show you how far you might be able to take a degree and how many different things you might be able to do, even the same degree. So Palin's a chef and a YouTuber, quite a popular YouTube channel, in fact. So if you Google the name, you'll find it. I can't remember the title off the top of my head right now. But when we asked Palin, how did your time at LFS impact you in your career since graduating? They said, my time at LFS most importantly made me aware of the complex social, environmental, and economic issues around food. When I went to culinary school, we only talked about food in the context of cooking. So many chefs go out into the industry knowing how to cook very well, but they were not given an opportunity to learn about all the other important issues that are closely tied. Another example, researcher that's here studying right now, studying to try to make an impact on the zero waste movement and packaging materials for food products that are more sustainable. So kind of a cool example of another thing you might do from the food, nutrition, and health program that is different than something that you might not consider that research piece, that product development piece as well. I'll give you a minute. I won't read the whole thing, but if anybody out there is really interested, I'll let you take a minute to read that. You can see how intertwined the idea of making a positive impact on the world is for many of the folks that study here at LFS. So thinking about how to maximize, preserve food on the shelf for longer to to reduce the environmental impact of food consumption as well. Very quite cool. And then lastly, we have a recent alumni. I believe Aki, Christine, I think you could probably correct me. So correct me if you need to. I think Aki started med school 2021.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so an example of someone that has, came to the faculty of LFS for their degree and then has gone on and been successful at getting into med school and pursuing that. I really appreciate Aki's approach to sharing about the impact of learning in terms of the social determinants of health, the social determinants of health and public health in general, and how that has really is really influencing his thinking about medicine and approach to even conducting medicine. I think that's pretty cool. So again, I'll just give you a chance in case you really want to read this. Christine, anything you want to share about our alumni?
Well, I've been very privileged to be a part of this faculty for, I'm going to age myself here, audience, for almost 10 years in this role, and supporting and seeing students who have now come through the program and graduated, and like Aki, who I've met when he was a first-year student, then he graduated, now he's in medical school, he's a resident now, and he comes back as a mentor in our mentorship program and contributes back to the LFS community to share his experiences with younger generations of students coming up behind him. And he's one of many, many students who have that sense of community and wanting to give back. And I think that's a real hallmark of the Faculty of Land and Food Systems, is that sense of community, sense of collective value alignment, and wanting to make the world a better place and to shape and inform good best practices and how we treat people, the planet, our animals, and everyone comes into that discussion from different perspectives. And one of the things that I think is really exciting is there are students like Aki who day one when I met him was like, I want to be a doctor and this is what I want to do with my life. And everything that he chose to do and everything he selected in terms of his courses, the ways he got engaged on campus, the extracurricular ways he got involved, the investment that he made in research, and the experiences that he created for himself as an undergraduate student all served that directional purpose. And he's going to be a doctor, which is amazing. There are also lots of students, and Caroline, you kind of highlighted it in the story that you shared, who kind of come with a perspective or idea of what they want their life to be, come here, and then all of a sudden you get inspired to pivot and turn your interests in different directions, or realize that your interests can actually evolve into a career and you can mirror what you're passionate about with a career path. Or you might meet a professor who's doing something incredible that you didn't even know was a possibility to choose as a career path, and being open to that exploration. And I just think the LFS community creates a real sense of support. As Allison mentioned, she's a dedicated career counselor advisor to support all of you. It's embedded into your curriculum. It's, a part of what we try and do is not prepare you for a job, but prepare you for a career. And that career could be one of many, many different things, which is a bit scary and overwhelming sometimes, but also incredibly exciting, because you really do have the opportunity to pick a pathway that your passions can drive you down. And we're here to help guide you along the way, kind of like Google GPS. We'll give you lots of different routes to get to the same destination and help you pivot or go down a different road if you run into roadblocks, or otherwise get inspired to take a more scenic route or go to a completely different destination. That's what we're here to help you do. And I think that's one of the things that I think, that I reflect on in my time in this faculty, and see students like Aki and others who just continue to be a part of the community and stay connected. I think it's a real testament to the experiences that they have here and the impact that they can have on the world.
I love that metaphor. That is a good one. I'm gonna use it again.
It is yours to use, Allison.
So we're going to take a moment, each of us, to share with you why we think that choosing LFS is a great idea. For me, I'll highlight one of the strengths that we've kind of been talking about already. It's a small, supportive faculty. There's a good sense of community. You have the ability to meet lots of like-minded people through a variety of different ways. But because it is a small faculty, you get to know people a lot easier than if you're in a huge classroom with all kinds of different people all the time. There's opportunities and encouragement to get involved. So we've listed out and we've talked about a handful of the opportunities to try things out, to get involved. There's so many more. And most importantly, you're not kind of thrown into the campus, which is huge, to figure out where to go or how to do it. We very much want to support you to get some hands-on learning and to meet people by doing things. So we are here, both myself as well as our academic team. We also have a person who works closely with you in terms of student engagement and where you might be able to get involved. So there's tons and tons of support for you to pursue those opportunities that might seem overwhelming because there are so many. And then, like we've said so far, and Christine just highlighted, I think the integration of career learning into the Faculty of Land and Food Systems is different than anywhere else here at UBC, and it is really important. We know that career is a big thing that it's on prospective students' minds in general, and we want to be a part of helping you figure that out. We're dedicating the resources to do that, and are here every step of the way with you. Over to you, Caroline.
Hey, thanks for sharing all of the reasons you think LFS is a great choice, Allison. These ones are mine. First, we had mentioned the LFS core series before. I think that this is just a phenomenal aspect of our program. I honestly didn't really know what I was just taking the courses that I was required to take, and I didn't realize until partway through like why it was required. But I got halfway through and I realized, because let me take a few steps back. LFS in the core series, you end up working with a community partner and you do research for a community partner here in Vancouver. And you get to pick kind of based on your interests. So like I ended up working with the Not-So-Mott Tribal Council, which I believe is based in West Vancouver, and they take care of their 10 Coast Salish member nations and do like community building and stuff. And we help them in developing a seed library to promote food security in their communities. And I realized partway through the semester, I was like, this is real work. I'm doing real work for real people who will benefit from what I'm doing. And whoever planned that did a fantastic job, because that's every single person in LFS has to have that experience, and it will help you later on, I really believe. Next is that professors really care a lot about student well-being. We are a small faculty, so your profs are going to recognize you and they're going to listen to you when you have feedback for them. So yeah, like the way they organize their courses, they want you to learn and they want you to get the most out of your education that you can, and it's really evident in the care they take organizing their courses. And last, we make some pretty good hummus in LFS. Allison had mentioned the Agora Cafe, which is in our like home building. It's a student-run cafe, and they get me through the semester because they've got very affordable hummus bowls that it's some of the best hummus in Vancouver, if I am being honest. So those are my 3 reasons.
Thanks,
Caroline. Christine, how about you?
I think I kind of covered it a little bit when I was speaking before, but I agree that I think coming back to that sense of community, and Allison, you highlighted it, that Students really get to know each other. And I think one of the beautiful things is that we all get to know you too, right? Knowing students by name when they come in the office, and really getting an opportunity to develop a relationship. And just as I mentioned with Aki, knowing Aki since first year, and I get to call him doctor very soon is really exciting. So getting to kind of invest in all of you and see your success over time is something that we're really proud to be able to be a part of that journey for you. And so that sense of community and really championing your dreams and helping support you along the way is something we're really dedicated to. I think we're also very lucky to have some real dedicated resources in this faculty to support students, including Allison's role as a dedicated career advisor, as well as we have a dedicated embedded counselor to support students with well-being initiatives, dedicated academic advisors to support you through your academic journey, dedicated student engagement staff who support you by developing programs and opportunities to build your community and build your leadership and other types of skills to create opportunities for you to practice in really safe spaces and wonderful ways to make new friends. And I also am just really inspired by our students all the time. I just think, you know, students like Caroline and all of her peers, in terms of just what you're interested in and what drives you, is something we're always really curious about. And I think that students have a very strong voice in this faculty and have an opportunity to really shape not only what and how they learn, but also what kind of an impact that they're going to leave, big or small. Not everyone is going to change the world and solve world peace and world hunger and all of those daunting challenges that we're facing as a global community, but also as a local community. But just really inspired by our students every single day, and that keeps all of us really passionate and committed to supporting all of you.
Thanks. Just a few resources. We're kind of getting close to our end. In a moment, Caroline's going to go over a little bit of the academic pieces in case you're worried about them or you're wondering. A few key resources I encourage you to check out. Career Carrots, we have an Instagram and a podcast. These are LFS career-specific tips and support. Also something that nobody else on campus has. So follow us on Instagram. We'll be releasing a new episode of the podcast in December, so keep an eye out for that. But we do tips and all kinds of different things. I post pictures of my bunnies every Sunday to give you a little warm, fuzzy feeling leading into the week. So follow us for sure. We have a really great resource online as well. What can you do with an LFS degree? This outlines lots of general things, but also very specific things about the various different programs that you might pursue here at LFS. So it'll go even more in depth than we have so far today in terms of career opportunities that exist for you after studying here. And then Caroline already shared the link for the LFS alumni spotlights, but like I said, there's lots more on there. Definitely encourage you to check those out as well. I'll pass it over.
Yeah, I'm just going to touch very briefly on the admission quick notes. These are our BC high school requirements. For grade 11, you're going to want either pre-calculus 11 or foundations of math 12, English 11 or English 11 first pupils, chemistry 11 and physics 11. And then for grade 12, you're going to need pre-calculus 12, English 12 or English first pupils 12. And then one of biology 12, chemistry 12, or physics 12. And then down on the bottom left-hand corner there, we have the application deadline for our final deadline for UBC is January 15th of 2024. That's true every year. It's always January 15th. But if you want to be considered for early admission and scholarships, the December 1st deadline, which is coming up soon, is the one you're going to want to hit. And then just for post-secondary transfer, you're going to need to meet the minimum high school requirements or have taken the equivalents at whatever post-secondary institution you're transferring from. And we're going to look at your most recent 24 to 30 credits. If you're not sure about course equivalencies, use the BC Transfer Guide to find them. And we generally say to aim for the mid-70s or higher to be competitive.
Thank you. That's the end of our more formal presentation, but we would be happy to field any questions